This is for the one who ain't never had a love, yeah. This one's for the girl who don't feel like she's enough, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one's for the cool kid playing on the school team, crying to himself cause he never had the prom queen. Head full of wants, but they said it's just a pipe dream, yeah. This one's for the kids like me, they ain't never had one thing. The ladies always turn their cheek, but they ain't let the fat ones sing. This one's for the kids like me, kept working when they had nothing. When people try to take their dreams, they stuck it to them, please don't change. For the nerds and the misfits, bullied by the rich kids, feel like they're alone even though they never did shit. Binging anime to find somebody they could fit with. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one's for the people who ain't ever give a fuck, for the people who are down and they just feel like giving up. And this is for the people fighting thoughts that they're stuck. Yeah. This one's for the kids like me, they ain't never had one thing. The ladies always turn their cheek, but they ain't let the fat ones sing. This one's for the kids like me, kept working when they had nothing. When people try to take their dreams, they stuck it to them, please don't change. When we get knocked down, we get back up. No, 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 we're not gonna take it. When we get knocked down, we get back up. No, 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 we're not gonna take it. Get knocked down, you get back up. Nah, 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 we're not gonna take it. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? How we doing out there? October
Kind of
9th.
sounds like he dropped something at the end of that song.
I think he does.
Yeah.
I think he does. He
It
dropped.
sounds like he's dropping like a plastic fork or something on the ground.
I mean,
Always wondered what it is.
Hack is retarded. So
I should
wouldn't
just
be
text
surprised.
him.
You
I
should just
remember.
text. He won't remember. He'll be like, I don't even remember what I did during that. Oh, because that's hack style. I don't even remember, man. Anyway, how's everybody doing out there? October 19th, 2024. Alex here hanging out. Dave, you're back. Hello.
Hello. I was not able to be on last night because I
You were
was
sleeping.
gone. Yes.
And you were sleeping.
Yes.
Doing the show.
Yes.
You lazy bitch.
But I was on duty. I was on child duty, being a good child.
You're a shitty child.
Exactly. So I have to try to be a good child sometimes in order to build up the reputation that I will eventually break down.
I'm not going to lie, Dave. I'm fucking exhausted today. We had a ridiculously long day, and I don't know why Julie and I scheduled a stupidly long day. We had soccer this morning at 8:30. It was nice that both girls played at the same time. I only had to coach one, which is rare. The other assistant coach coached the other. And then after that, we had one of Julie's friends from work. She came by, so we had to entertain because she left their job. Then after that, there was a Halloween party my daughter was invited to. And then we went to a trick or trunk. And then we went to another Halloween party for my wife's cousin. It has been I honestly, I wish I went to work today.
I heard an argument today or yesterday of, is it trick or trunk or trunk or treat?
I think they go both ways. I think you could say either or. It started off as trunk or treat, I believe, was the first time that I really heard of it.
I don't know.
But I think it's both trick or trunk or treat. It really doesn't matter. The trunk just needs to be there.
I feel like it matters a little bit.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It does, because
They're
in one, you're
chillin'.
either getting a trick or the trunk. And in the second one, you're either getting the trunk or a treat. So in the second one, you're popping the trunk on people.
The kids are all getting treats. Because here's the thing. Nobody gets a trick anymore. That's not a thing. That doesn't happen anymore. You just wear costumes. You walk around. It was very fortunate. It was a beautiful freaking day today. Over here in Po Town. So we were able to sit there, and it was a nice day for them to go walk around and get a shit ton of candy. And the nice part is all that candy is just going to be redistributed to kids that come to my door, because that's the best way to get rid of the candy. So that is what we were going to do. Hello, everybody. We appreciate all of you guys for being here. As always, if you're watching on X, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching, we appreciate it. Go give us a repost on X. Go give us a follow on Facebook. Go give us a subscription and a like on YouTube. Spread this word of mouth. Let everyone know that we are here. We're doing our thing. And go find us on the socials at the Alex Cuesta Show. Because I'm tired, I'm going to really quickly go through my preamble here. Epstein client list. Let's just get it. Come on, people. Fucking pressure people to talk about it. We need it out there. We need to know who the rich and powerful people were that raped and sexually assaulted young girls. Standing with Alex Jones is a priority here. He's always welcome. InfoWars people always welcome. The victims of Helene and Milton, we still need to keep them in mind. Moms for Liberty, we need to make sure that we are supporting them. And with both of those things, if you can just give $1 and convince everyone that you know that's voting for Trump, give $1. And you know, we can get millions of dollars for the both of those. And lastly, go work your election polls so we can have fair elections, and make sure you vote as soon as you can. Early voting is upon mostly all of us. If not, you know, mine starts in 7 days. So make sure you know when your early voting is, where you can early vote, go get it done. That's all I'm doing for today. That's gonna be that was my quick preamble, Dave. That's got to be the quickest preamble I've ever done. Yeah.
That's fucking big. That's really big. I'm hoping. I'm praying for you, Nate.
Nate, please hit it. I like that you're a degenerate gambler, because I'm not. So I live vicariously through you, and that makes me happy. And, you know, I don't say degenerate in a pejorative. It is a positive to be a degenerate gambler. Don't let anyone ever tell you, because all you need to do is win one, baby. All you need to do is win one, and then you can keep on playing others. That's the way you do it. So, all right, Dave, let's have some fun here. Let's start off with our lead title. Do you want me to pull this one up? Because you don't have it, right?
No, you had that one.
No, you suck.
You didn't send it to me.
I don't want to send things to you. I can do things just fine without you, Dave.
I don't need you.
I don't need you. I can do it myself. Anyway, so this is a big deal right here, everybody. Dave Ramsey announces his endorsement for president, delivers a message to those who try to cancel him. Let's go into this one, because for those who don't know who David Ramsey is, he is a really smart financial guru. Someone that if you listen to, you will probably be fine financially. And for him to come out and endorse somebody, he typically doesn't. He typically kind of stays on the sidelines. He has before. It's not like he never has. But he's typically someone that just kind of like, I'm going to wait and see. Someone's going to line my pockets, and I'll let you know what their policies are and how to get the better of them and things like that. Like, he's on top of like all the changes they do financially, and he's just awesome with it. So, is this might be his announcement. We're going to find out.
Probably is. Probably is. Just start playing it. How long is it?
Let's say it's 4 minutes, so we might cut to the chase, but let's see.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be an ad. If there's an ad, I apologize.
Brothers and sisters in Christ, because they're
Holy
disgusted with the
shit.
quality of the character of both candidates
Pause that.
in their minds.
That is a crazy echo. I don't know if you're hearing that.
No, I don't hear any echo.
Try it again.
That's what the thing comes out. And that's understandable.
That's terrible. Maybe try to put it back, bring it up again, see if it does it. But just a whole window. Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
That was a bad echo.
That
was hurting my ears.
Guys, I hope there wasn't this type of an echo last night. If there was, I fucking apologize. Someone's got to let me know. Dave, I just sent it to you. You try pulling it up. Might just be a lot easier.
Okay.
2-2 in college today, slightly down. First losing Saturday. Yeah, no, you've been pretty good, but 2-2. That's not losing. That's even. So I'm here for you, Nate. Rutgers fucking sucks, Nate. Right there, Dave. It's that first video.
Yeah, I know.
Rutgers is terrible, losing to the worst team in the Big Ten. How Greg Schiano is not on the hot seat, and I've been saying this for weeks. It's beyond me. I know there's a ton of injuries there, but that's the worst team with one of the worst quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and he threw for 4 touchdowns and ran for another one on you. It's fucking embarrassing. All right, Dave, play this. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, let me know.
Brothers and sisters in Christ, because they're disgusted with the quality of the character of both
It's all good?
Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
candidates in their minds. That's what the thing comes out. And that's understandable. 16% of gun owners say they're not going to vote. And that's just
They're
because
not
they don't
voting?
want to get on the grid. They don't want anybody to know where they are, because some of you are just weirdos, okay? And you don't have to be a
I am
weirdo. You don't
voting.
have
I
to be a
love to
weirdo
vote.
to
I
have a
will
gun.
vote.
I've got guns.
No,
and I'm
I
not
will
weird.
vote. But I do think they know a lot about us.
They know a lot about us.
They know
But
a lot
I don't
about
think
us.
voting is going to cause them to know more or less.
I know. Okay, keep going.
So here's the thing. You're not voting for a savior. If so, neither one of these would be
I
qualified.
thought the video.
You're
Yeah,
not even
I was
voting
very
for a
confused for a
pastor.
second.
If so, neither one of these would be qualified. What happens in your house is more important to your success than what happens in the White House. But what happens in the White House does affect your life, and to not vote at all out of disgust is bad decision-making paradigm.
Not wrong.
You should make a list of the 8 or 10 issues that are out there and which side each candidate falls on. And regardless of the candidate themselves, I don't believe in voting on a single issue. If you want to vote single issue voter, you can, but I don't vote on a single issue. There's not a single issue that I will vote on above everything else. I mean, there's things that are more important or less important, but like, you know, there are people that
really
say,
wish
okay,
we were
pro-choice
good
or
at our
pro-life.
job and we watched this
I
beforehand.
will not vote
Sorry.
anything except that on any other issue. I could disagree with them on everything, and they'll still get my vote because of that. I don't believe in that. I believe in looking at the whole thing and saying, okay, there's the economy, there's inflation, there's
Also, real
interest
quick,
rates, there's taxes.
I wish more people would take his stance. I think single issue voters
You
are
would think.
fucking retarded. Like,
You would
I
think.
think that if you're a single issue voter and you openly are, you should not be allowed to vote. Like, it should be taken away from you, because a single issue vote is retarded considering just how much and how complex it is. Like, if you're
I will
only
say
vote
this.
on both sides, if it's abortion,
There
on
is
both
something to be
sides,
being
fuck
stubborn.
you, okay? Whether it is strictly pro-life, like you have those pro-life assholes sitting out because Donald Trump, the only one to get Roe versus Wade overturned, is not pro-life enough, and they're sitting out, they could fuck off. And anyone that's super pro-abortion, that's the only reason they're voting for Kamala, they can also fuck off. Actually understand anything about the world and then go vote. Sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
No problem.
Which candidate falls on the side of those things that you believe you can fix or that they're going to impact? There's the border, the immigration issue that is real. Which candidate falls on that? Check the box, right? Check the box. Pro-life, pro-abortion.
1 second.
Okay. Well,
What the fuck, Nate? Here's a fun football stat.
Indiana beat the ever-loving fuck out. I don't know if you saw the score line. I
No.
was out. I was
No, I
sitting
didn't.
down, and there were screens that had games on, and I looked up at one point. It was like 24-7 or something like that. The
Who'd they
Indiana was in
play?
the 20s. Indiana versus Nebraska.
Oh, they beat the shit out of Nebraska that bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was like they were in Indiana's 20s, Nebraska's
Keith
like 7.
Malinak's going to be very upset on Monday.
Yeah. Then I looked up again, and it was like 42-7. Like, it was fucking
Jesus.
bad.
So Indiana with the backup QB had 2 minutes of possession in the third quarter and scored 14 points. Wow, Nate, we are both struggling. Sorry, that was just ridiculous. I'm going to say we go full Starship Troopers. Squiggles,
Service
I
equals
fucking
citizenship.
agree. All right, go
I'm
ahead. Dave.
doing my part. I'm sorry.
it's Democrat and Republican very clearly on that. Okay. Although Trump is not going to do anything on a federal level for pro-life. He's just going to let the overturn of Roe v. Wade run its course and the states decide.
Jesus Christ.
Kamala is going to be pro-abortion, period. And they've said this very clearly. I mean, it's a standard plank in their party, okay? Pro-Second Amendment. No question which one you're going to check there on which. If you're pro-gun or you're anti-gun, okay? If you're anti-gun, you need to vote for Vice President Harris.
Even though she has one.
If you're pro-gun rights, just because you got one doesn't matter. If you're pro-gun rights, you cannot put a check over there. And I'm not going to vote on a single issue. Okay, if you're really concerned about the social issues around woke,
Can I jump in? What about writing in a name? Does that count?
you can. But I think one of these two is going to be president, and you should participate. That's
Yes,
what I
but
think.
if I have a conviction as an American to actively vote, because I
For Donald Trump, not because I'm voting
oh my
for Donald.
gosh, someone in.
Yep. So I'm going to tell
It's
you,
a video,
I'm
okay.
voting for Donald Trump, not because I'm voting
Oh my
for Donald
gosh,
Trump.
are we going here?
That's okay. But because I checked those boxes and more of those are on that side than on the
Wow.
other side, I'm going to hold my nose and I'm going to vote. I suggest you hold your nose and you vote, and that's what I don't mean. I think they stink, and I'm saying there's something I disagree with, and I'm going to vote anyway. And that's how I made the decision to vote for Trump. Was the boxes that were checked. And if you want to vote the other way, as long as you're being thoughtful about it and you're being a nice person, we're still friends.
I do find it, because probably the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting how we always put it as like, hold your nose and vote,
Yeah, no, I was
and
just
everything
going to
like
comment
that.
on that.
Because I feel like if you are so dedicated to a certain person that you're so rip-roaring ready to vote for them, that could be an issue.
Yes.
And how
The
you think
zealots are
about
bad.
that person.
Zealotry is never good.
I feel like it's a good thing to have things that you disagree with in a politician or someone you might vote for, but you like them enough, or you like what they want to do enough, that you're going to vote for them anyway over the other person. To have someone that you just completely agree with, I feel like that's a little weird.
If you ever fully agree with something somebody says, then they're wrong, and so are you, more than likely. And go find out, go research the other side of everything you agree with. It's, try and confirm or deny, but go research it. But when it comes to, I always hated that, like, well, they both suck and it's a lesser of two evils. Like, I'm sorry, every single presidential or federal candidate you voted for is we've talked about this, a raging fucking narcissist, probably not a good person, but it takes that type of a person to want to lead in that way. Because a normal, good, nice person does not have the ability to sit there and make the type of decisions that those individuals need to make. That's just not there. So politicians have never been good people. And this is going back to the beginning of fucking time. You can read about it in Greek stories. You could read about it in anything that you want that talks politics. Yep. They've always been some of the worst people in the community, but they have a special ability to lead men and make decisions that sometimes are hard decisions. Like, here's the thing. Yes, there's been tyrants. Yes, there's been madmen. But most people do not like sending off their citizens to go get killed in a war, because that is, and in the olden times too, you had your soldiers, but they usually worked as well. So they were planting their crops. You're not taking your farmers. You're taking a whole bunch of people away to go send them most likely to die. A lot of them. That's usually something that people did not take lightly. Standing armies weren't always a thing. So it takes a special type of person, and not a good person per se, but a special type of person to voluntarily, in our way that we do things, voluntarily put themselves out there to campaign for campaign for you to come and vote for them, to go make difficult decisions on your behalf. So it's pretty, that's the thing. And I always hated that. Oh, I hate them. They both suck. No, that just means you don't fucking pay attention. Anyone that says, oh, they're both terrible, they both suck, you're just not paying attention. You're not paying attention. You're not actually looking at what they stand for. You're just looking at snippets of what they say and reading headlines. You can clearly see in this election, there are clear divide lines. Now, whatever is important to you is pretty clearly stated on both sides.
Yes.
So if you're saying, oh, they both suck, then either you are truly down the middle, a moderate, which doesn't actually exist. There is no such thing as a real moderate. Independents are fake. Independents are just either leftist or conservatives that are unwilling to say it. Okay. You guys don't exist. You're unicorns. If you want to say you're independent, that's fine. Independents are people that go, well, I don't fully agree with one side. No shit. No one fully agrees with one side. But if you majority agree with one side, I hate to break it to you, that's what you are. So it's just people that want to be able to claim I don't fully agree with Republicans, or I don't fully agree with Democrats. Neither do I. Neither does David. I actually hate most Republicans. Okay. Most of them suck. I don't agree with all conservatism. I've said the super Bible belt thumpers are fucking crazy sometimes. Okay. They're a great branch of the party. They have a, solid core, firm belief things, but there's some things that I disagree with them firmly on. So this whole entire lesser of two evils argument has always been dumb to me, Dave. I agree with you.
Either way, we've kind of gotten away from why we want to show that. That's huge for Dave Ramsey to come out and endorse Donald Trump like that.
Yes.
Dave Ramsey has one of, if not the biggest podcast, I think, on like financial literacy and really understanding.
It's massive. He's one of the biggest gurus in the world.
Yes. So him coming out and saying that he himself is going to vote for Donald Trump is massive. And I mean, like he brought the caveat of at least be thoughtful in who you're voting for, which I
Yes.
agree with.
Agreed.
If you're going to vote for someone, be thoughtful and have an actual reason for why.
And again, if you're voting for Kamala and you could sit there and say, hey, my biggest stances are I like a social safety net.
Mhm.
I'm pro-abortion, and I don't like guns. If you could sit there and those are your big three,
I might horribly disagree with you, but at least
I
you
might
have a
hardly,
fucking
but if
stance.
that are your big three stances and that she checks those boxes for you, okay, at least you have a reason. It's not just, well, she's a woman.
Yeah.
She's sometimes black, but mostly Indian in her career. But now she's black. Those are if you're doing immutable characteristics, and you're a fucking idiot. But if you have policies, I might disagree with them. I don't care if they're Marxist policies, which is what you're going to get from her. But if that's what you're standing on, go for it. At least you're voting for something.
Yeah. But big endorsement for he's been getting a lot of honestly big endorsements. More in the social aspect recently, but this one is a financial,
an economic one.
Yes. So this is I think it's a bit pretty big.
And this, some of them don't move the needle. Like Elon Musk really doesn't move the needle because Elon Musk they framed him in such a way that he doesn't move the needle too much. He doesn't.
I think you'd be surprised.
But I think
he's a pretty big name.
I think he moves the needle in both ways, though. I think you get negative and positive from him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Where Dave Ramsey is a guy that people don't necessarily look at as political.
I don't watch a lot of Andrew Wilson, but he's pretty good. He's pretty good on most things.
He is solid.
Yeah.
But Ramsey, people don't necessarily look at as political. They don't go for him for politics. Yes, he'll incorporate policy with what he's trying to do in terms of financials. And he'll say when some policy shit and it's not going to help you financially, but it's not necessarily a lean. But for him to come out and explicitly not just say like I'm leaning, I am voting for Donald Trump. That's massive.
Yes, and I think the thing is
that it's normies.
I think a lot of things that people are realizing they're coming up against, whether consciously or unconsciously, is that a lot of what's happening with leftist policy, with Democrat policy, goes specifically against reality and against things that we've known work.
Yes.
Just things that traditionally work, and it's just like, why would we change certain things? Why would we change the way we think of certain things unless absolutely certain there's a way of thinking of it? So, and I think that's why you're getting some people come out and be like, yeah, I'm voting for Donald Trump. People that would probably never say that, or at least never say it like as clearly and coherently as he did. Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why it's happening so frequently recently.
And I just want to address this with Nate. He could think of only like 3 good people in history to be leaders: Marcus Aurelius, Ron Paul, Thomas Massey, and I will argue that they are all narcissists. They might be nice guys. I think Thomas Massey probably a really nice fucking guy. Ron Paul, he's a good guy. Marcus Aurelius, obviously good dudes.
And you also have to think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, Alex, Alex, but I also think you're not using narcissist in a negative connotation. You're using narcissist in this term of how they believe about themselves and the way they move about themselves, and in correlation with everyone else around them.
Yes. And the thing is, and it's not necessarily a negative trait, some sort of narcissism.
But it has a negative connotation. Like if you're going to call someone a narcissist, it's because you're saying something negative about them.
And
generally,
and I don't know of another way to phrase it in terms of just a belief. I guess maybe like supreme confidence would be the way, possibly, because like in order to go out there and to go for any of these federal or big positions, you have to be openly bragging. Like you have to say that you are the best. Like that is your goal, to prove you are better at things than other people, out in public and very widely, right? Ron Paul ran for president, man, and he went out there and he was saying that his policies are the best. Thomas Massey runs for in federal government. Marcus Aurelius, same thing. He had the pine in order to get people. It's not a necessarily, again, narcissism in itself isn't a great thing, but it's there's always that something there. He left the top to be a farmer and came back because people begged him. He did. George Washington left as well. But here's the thing. People could beg you all you fucking want, but unless you feel that you have the ability to do that and you have that supreme confidence to do that, you wouldn't go do it. Here's the thing. Me and Dave could be amazing, and people could look at us and be like, we know you will be great at policy. We know you'll be great. People follow you already. You're a leader of men. If we don't want to do it, if we don't have that supreme confidence in ourselves, we're not going to do it. borderline narcissist. Maybe borderline's a better way to put it. You have to have that ability. It's yes, there's unwilling leaders, but you eventually get to a point where you have a supreme level of confidence. That's all I'm saying. And it's not always a bad thing because we get great leaders out of that as well. So, that was good stuff. That was good stuff. So I'm happy about it. I do want to mention, Dave, that the Manchester Hawks absolutely dominated Beach the other day, and I'm excited. I got to throw that out there for Coach Farrell and his boys over there. Destroyed Beach 42-14. And Point Beach was a quiet 4-3. They weren't a bad football team. Avery Phillips had a ton of yardage, 3 touchdowns. They clinched their first home playoff game ever on November 1st. And they can clinch their first outright division title, first ever division title. And we'll talk more about that if they do. No, it is. And we will set history straight. Yes. And they can clinch it next week, create school history if they beat, 0-8 Monmouth Regional. And, it's exciting that we have, we've had Coach Farrell on the last 3 years. He's now up to 17-12. He's 10 wins away from surpassing a former Manchester head coach that's on his staff. Coach OD is the most winningest coach at 27. And Coach Farrell is well on his way to catching him. So OD will probably punch him the day that he passes him, just probably hit him on the sideline just for fun, just because he can. But I mean, things are pointing in the right direction. And I'm just excited for Manchester. I'm gonna be rooting for them to, just because Southern's 0-8, you don't take anyone for granted. You got to go, you got to play, you got to perform, and then get that first home playoff game. And it's a home playoff game for a reason. Fucking win that game and let's get a second one. Okay. That's what we got to do. All right. So we're going to jump in. Dave, where do you want to go next here?
I was just going to go to our second part of this.
I don't care. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
So
weirdly enough, we're going to Kotaku for this. Because this isn't a terrible article. It's actually not too bad. But this article is about Concord being the biggest flop we've seen in a very long time.
And Dave, I just want to point out, you want to know why it's not a terrible article on Kotaku?
Because it's not Mercante.
Because Mercanti didn't write it, okay?
Yes. But this is about Concord being one of the biggest flops ever, just in entertainment.
Yep.
Bigger than ET in gaming. I think you can make the argument this is the biggest flop in gaming history ever.
I forget I was listening to Side Scores, and I forget who. I think it was Craig that talked to somebody and was like, make no mistake, we are in the middle of a crash right now. This is not a potential crash.
Was it his pre-sale guy?
I think it might have been his pre-sale guy that was like, make no mistake, we are in the middle of a gaming crash. This is in the layoffs are ridiculous and it's happening. And it's because, there is the profit margins just are not, we are in the middle of a crash.
Yes.
The only games that are going to perennially do well are going to be like your sports games.
Yes.
And that's it. So it's interesting when you think about it in this way that this may be the trigger of the full on now. Like we've already been in it. It's been bad. We might get a bigger bloodbath because of things like this. Go ahead, Dave.
Yes. And this article, I'm going to give you a real TLDR about this because it's
long.
It's long, not like crazy long, but long enough where there's no reason to read the whole entire thing.
Lazy.
But the article is making the point that that Concord, huge loss. A loss that really shakes the foundation of gaming. Honestly, it shakes the foundation of Sony.
Million that they lost.
Hold up, I just passed the subheading. 399 million loss.
400
and 400 million.
I don't care what company you are.
It hurts.
$400 million is a bad.
And we also have to think about it this way. It's a $400 million loss in the game itself, but also they were ramping Concord up as a future thing. Like this is supposed to hold them over for a while. People are supposed to be playing this for a long fucking time.
And here's the thing I see in the article here. We're going to compare the $399 million loss with the worst flop in the history of movies, which was John Carter. It grossed $284.1 million while losing $255 million. This lost more than a motion picture, which is kind of sad because I actually didn't mind John Carter. It wasn't
a lot of people apparently like John. I never.
It wasn't a great movie, but like the book John Carter from Mars is fucking fantastic.
Yes,
and they actually didn't do it terribly. So it's really sad that I think I saw John Carter in theaters. So I was one of the people that tried to help it.
I've heard it's pretty good. I've
It was
heard people
pretty
like
good.
it.
It's not.
But-
It's not this amazing movie, but it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, but I get the gist of this article, and I actually like the gist of this article, and the fact that this kind of law should be fucking covered. This
Yeah.
is huge, and and this does a lot just in the entertainment space.
Mhm.
But I don't necessarily love that they're coming down on this, and basically like it's a weird wall at the mainstream press. There's still like a bit of like prejudice against games in a way, and I get the reasoning for why you would make that kind of assumption on that. But I honestly fall more on the side of, while gaming is huge, bigger than movies and basically everything else combined, while it's huge, it's not huge off the backs of certain games like this. Like, those are for gamers. There's a subset of people called gamers. And then the rest of the people that, even though they play games, they're not
casuals.
actual gamers. They're casuals. They're
So
normies.
Here's the question.
They're the people that play Madden, or the people that play all
Yeah.
these sports simulations, or they're on their phone. They're not like, they're gamers in the sense of they play games, but they're not gamers in the sense of they're actually into this shit.
So here's the question, Dave. Is it the chicken or is it the egg? Is it the fact that these games, while being massive, are things that, they're not covered and that's why they're not known? Or is it the fact that they're not getting coverage in general, that they're not? Because the thing is, like, I would never compare something like a Concord to an indie type of thing. And that's kind of where you're going with it. That it's kind of like, you have to be a certain type of person that watches this type of film to enjoy XY film. Where here, it's not Call of Duty, it's not Fortnite, it's not Madden, it's not FIFA. So it's not, people don't give a shit. It's not Roblox. But somebody has to care enough for them to spend hundreds of millions of dollars.
So the somebodies that do care enough is a big amount of people, but it's not the same people that read mainstream press.
But
they don't
wouldn't this
coincide.
transcend that, because it is the biggest flop, and financially, wouldn't this be covered off of just a financial loss basis?
I'm not going to say never.
That would overarch
yeah.
just gaming. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's the thing. If it was just Concord took a loss of 50 to 100 mil, was a bad loss, shitty game. Okay, no one's going to give a fuck, because that has nothing to do with it. Nobody cares about Overwatch or Concord or anything like that in the mainstream press. But this isn't just a game flopping. This is the biggest flop in gaming history. That should move a needle somewhere.
I'm going to bring up this anecdotal thing.
Okay.
Our sister works, what she does. She's very big in media. I brought up the Pokemon leak to her. She had no fucking idea what I was talking about. That is huge in video gaming, that Pokemon leak.
And here's the thing.
That Tetra leak is ginormous.
Agreed. And to me, that is more of a hole in journalism than it is the fact that it's not big.
I'm not saying it's not big. I'm saying it's big in a different space, because I feel like we forget how different these spaces are. And even though both of these things can be huge, they're just not in the same wheelhouse. And that's why it's not covered in some areas. I'm not saying it should never be covered in some areas. I'm just saying that's more of an explanation for me than it is of just people not entirely, like, people kind of shunning it in a way.
For me, it's a laziness in journalism. And we've seen it.
Could be.
It is a very laziness in journalism. They do things that they want to do. They know Donald Trump being in a headline is going to get them headlines. They know Elon Musk and Kamala Harris and something that Joy Reid said is going to get them headlines. And they know that the Steelers and the Cowboys, and they don't think that a big story of biggest game, arguably the most highest grossing game in the history of man series, Pokemon, one of them, if not the highest.
Yes.
Having a leak that is now.
Sorry, Grand Theft Auto 5, highest grossing.
Well, I mean, in terms of series, I think Pokemon is probably the highest
franchise, probably
franchise, or one of them. They're top 5, top 3.
Huge. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I get it. But that is a lapse in journalism judgment. Because you want to know something? Because Pokemon, yes, maybe Concord, no one would give a fuck about, because that's not getting to the 12-year-olds. Pokemon is getting to the first-time gamers, and it's going through, right? We have people my age that still play Pokemon, your age that still will buy every fucking Pokemon game that comes out. So to me, that is a laziness and lapse, and a not willing to bend and come with the times. Because also, though, These same companies are funding Kotaku, IGN, Polygon. So they do know PC Gamer, The Gamer. They do know that this is a big branch. And they do know that it's important enough to funnel money into these spaces. But I also think it's just a laziness on the journalist part that they think that our demographic doesn't care. When the thing is, yes, your demographic does, because your demographic is my age now. It's us. We are mid-30s. We're the ones that consume CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. We're the ones that consume those now. More than, you still have your 50s, your 60s, but we're the key demo. They're not the key demo anymore. So if you want to go to your key demo, including legitimate stories from a gaming journalist that can give legit perspective on those would only be a benefit.
Yeah. And I do want to give more credence to this article because I do feel like I haven't given enough, to be quite honest with you. But they bring up Colossal Failure Joker 2 has received blanket coverage across all mediums.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a good story. So of course it should be. And I like I said, I get the argument. And I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with the argument of saying it should be covered. I'm just saying I think the reasoning is different than some of the reason that they come up with in this. And I'm not even saying that they're like arguing that MSM, mainstream media, is being like horribly prejudiced. It's just like they don't think about it.
It's a blind spot. It is a blind spot. And it's but it's also, like I said, I think it's just they're going with what they know works. And I see right here, one of the things that he writes, the biggest entertainment disaster of all time. That's a headline, right? That is so clicky.
Yep.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yes.
You put that on Google's main page, Yahoo, MSN News, which is all these news aggregators, right? That'll get picked up. And that right there is a viral thing because people are going to click on it. Even if it's a video game thing, they're going to click on it and be like, whoa, what the fuck? Biggest loss ever? Like, that's going to be crazy, especially if it's on the back of Joker, right? Because people are going to be like, oh, they might be talking about Joker. Like, that movie sucked. Boom, you're hit with a video game. And you're like, wait a minute, a video game they spent how much to make it? And they lost how much? This company's in business? Like, I don't know. It is a blind spot for sure.
Yeah.
And I think your argument is, I think both arguments can be valid at the same time.
Yeah. I don't think
they're both parallel.
Yeah. But I just do find it interesting because it is a decent point and a pretty good point of Concord is huge flop. Sony's going to be hurting for a while now for it. And it's surprising that like no one, because like I guarantee you, I said it before the show, you bring it up to someone who just plays games casually, you say something about Concord, they're not going to know what the fuck it is. No. They're going to have no goddamn idea.
Yeah. And and the thing is too, it's like also though, the people that are entrenched in this will start to bring up the wrong things, right? When they bring up Concord, outside of just being like, it was a really fucking bad version of Overwatch that had stale features, shitty character design, and just overall boring gameplay.
Yeah, and they cared more about the ideology in the game than they did making a good game. They just did.
And that's secondary, though. That's if you're going to talk to a normie, that's the second half.
Yes.
And too many
Unfortunately, secondary to
too many people will make that the first half, and then the normie checks out. Because then the normie is like, I don't give a fuck about any of that. I play Madden. I don't care about any of that. Like, I play Call of Duty. Woke shit has nothing to do with me over there. You know what I mean? So that's where they're going to look at it from, because they're not going to see it in those games. They don't care. If you're not already entrenched in it, you're not going to see it. So wouldn't Star Wars be the biggest entertainment failure?
It might be at this point. It might be.
I think maybe as a franchise.
I think overall loss.
Franchise. I think Star Wars and Marvel are going to compete for the two worst franchises of all time now. And what do you know? Disney owns them both.
I think that Marvel has made enough profit that it still needs more loss in order for it to actually, because
it's phase 4. The end.
I'm pretty sure like Infinity War and Endgame both made like $2 billion.
And then you have all the Guardians made a ton of money.
Like, so
Captain Marvel made $1 billion.
I think it was 2019. There were 9 movies that made $1 billion. I think 7 of them were Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking insane.
And
you can see why they were riding so goddamn high and they thought they could do anything.
And it's that type of funding, though, that I'm pretty sure that's Disney money. It's not just Marvel money. It's not saying mutual exclusive. So it's going to be able to fund all the other bullshit that
Yes.
So,
but
you know what, though? Maybe they learned something, because Inside Out made a shit ton of money and it was just a good fucking movie.
Yeah, there has to be more. There has to be a pattern of learning something, because like Inside Out, They did say stop all the gay shit, and that's why I made money because they did too. They came out that they did that.
And the
So
thing
it'd
is,
be like having it being a platonic friendship. But who would have fucking thought?
when you watch it, you see, and the thing is, when you watch it, you see multiple opportunities for them
Mhm.
to implement it into
Mhm.
that movie where, she obviously she idolizes Valentina, the good
Mhm.
hockey girl,
Mhm.
and it could get to the point of her wanting to have emotions, but
Yeah.
they keep it on idolatry,
Yeah.
which is, pubescent kids going to do that with an older kid. But
Yes.
then there's times where she's like hanging out with the other teens.
Mhm.
And the one girl that talks to her kind of has like a butch cut or whatever.
Mhm.
And, she's an athlete, hockey
Mhm.
player. Again, you see the opportunity there of maybe her mentioning pronouns or some dumb shit like that. They avoided all of that
Yes.
and instead just made it a very good, here's a look at a kid going through puberty and the emotions coming into her
Mhm.
via puberty and why kids are fucking weird and panic over everything, right? Like they did a really good job with that. And I applaud them. And whoever was in there, whoever was the adults in the room going, no asshole, don't put that in, needs to get a raise and needs to get Kathleen Kennedy's job yesterday. Because
Well,
Kathleen
that's a
Kennedy's,
different part of.
I don't care. Move
Disney.
them to Star Wars. Fuck
It's a
that.
different part of Disney.
She's terrible.
But also, I've seen the numbers for Unknown 9. Oh, it's fucking bad, dude. It's
How
bad.
many are playing right now? Let's look at the
I'll look it
you're
up.
gonna look
real
at the
quick.
Steam chart to see how many are currently playing Unknown 9. I think it peaked at like 112 or 121 was its peak
I think it was
early access.
No, I think that was okay. So all-time peak yesterday was 285. Oh my god. Players right now is 79.
Oh my god.
That's fucking bad.
And the thing is, though, Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't care. They are the kiss of death. Kim Belair does not give a fuck. They really don't. And I find it interesting that they leaked up. What's his name? Got fired. Whatever the guy's name is that started all the shit.
Chris Kindred.
Chris Kendrick. I think
Actually,
they leaked that to try and get people off their backs.
Master the TDS knew that for a bit now.
And he held on to it. Yes.
Yes. He had a good reason for why he held on to it. But
yeah, he had a friend he didn't want to burn in there and things like
yes,
that.
Yeah.
He had a source, a very good source that he did not want to burn.
Because he left a bit ago.
And I understand that.
Yes.
Why TDS held on to that.
Yeah.
But I also think TDS held on to it, but I'm thinking that they're hoping that would get some stuff off their backs because, hey, the guy that caused all the controversy is gone, right?
Maybe.
Kim Belair sucks.
You could say that, but Kim Belair just had a talk where she said dumb shit again. So I don't know about that one.
And it's only a matter of
too much credence, maybe.
Only a matter of time before like quote unquote Sweet Baby Inc. goes under and they're just gonna rename, right? That's just what they're gonna do. They're gonna rename, they're gonna rebrand, it's gonna be the same shit. But fortunately, there's guys like Brutus, there's guys like Grums, there's guys like Savvy and Kirsha that are gonna look at it and go, this is the same people. Don't trust it. So they're not gonna be able to, they can't do the same shit they used to do, where one folds, same people. So it's Unknown 9 fucking sucks. But
that's wild. I didn't know it was that low. I thought I saw the all-time peak at like 500 at some point, but maybe I'm wrong. Holy shit.
No, they are. Well, I think that was a new peak that as of yesterday, right? Because the all-time peak I saw was 121, and that was on fucking release. Like you were at 121 on release. Like
that's bad.
That is, and you know what though? That is devs. Because I guarantee there's 500 people that fucking made that. So that is all devs.
Maybe.
There's not a single action. Dave, I barely knew Unknown 9 was coming out until it came out.
Me neither. Well, until like Craig brought it up or like another show brought it up because they heard about how stupid it was.
The haters actually were trying to help you guys out by getting people to stream you at least. Like, and I think whatchamacallit, Vera Dark did stream it.
Vera she probably did. Vera streams all the one.
Vera streams all of them. I think Vera streamed it. She did her I stream, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Because Vera hates herself and wants to torture herself. But yeah, no. The gaming industry is in a weird space right now. And again, we are in a crash. That is rather obvious. The current ideology is making it very difficult to make good games and to have these people. And when good games do come out, they fight a war with these woke journalists that are trying to hold them down.
And the thing is that like
They could be
it's
bigger. They could be bigger.
Yeah, but it's getting fucking bad in the gaming industry when the head of CD Project Red gets BTFO'd by Endymion. Because there's nothing wrong with Endymion's great, but like Endymion's just a YouTuber.
Yep.
He shouldn't be just fucking destroying you like that.
Yep.
It's like you were the head of CD Project Red. Just fucking shut up and make games. That's all you have to do.
That's all your job. But you know what though? That's not their job, because to not be an activist is the worst thing in their world right now.
Yeah.
That's worse than losing money and making games and folding a company, is to not make your voice heard and be an activist. And I guess that's kind of rich coming from us, but because we're just making our voices
I
heard.
also don't make games though.
But we're also not activists. We're just two guys that see dumb shit and want to call it out. Right?
I'm not here making certain things, certain forms of entertainment, and trying to shove all of my ideology into that entertainment. I'm not doing that.
And you know what the thing is? Like, this is such a weird time because there didn't have to be this crash. This is such a self-induced crash in this gaming world.
Yes,
100%. And there was always going to be a correction because they hired a shit ton of people during COVID. They thought they were going to be able to ride things out. Now, the live servicing is an experiment right now. They're trying to make that stick, which again, we can shit on them for live service games. Most of them haven't been very good. But if the industry wasn't so bad, if there wasn't so much of this ideological bullshit going on, if there wasn't so many bad games coming out, I feel like they would get a lot more grace with live service. It is new.
Yeah, and you could also survive bad games if the budgets weren't so bloated.
And it has to do with how many people they hired. And they
exactly.
all college degrees. You have to pay them all $100K.
You're paying all this fucking money to make these big games, and then they come out. And even if they do well, like Star Wars Outlaws, I can't remember exactly, but they sold millions of copies, I think, but at least over 1 million. That's a big number. But it doesn't matter when your budget was like 400,000. I could be off, but it's still a fucking big ass budget for Star Wars Outlaws, and they needed to sell a lot of copies in order to even break even.
And here's the thing. We're hearing of these games that are having 200, 300, 400 people working on them. Fucking massive.
More for some.
More.
Huge number.
Here's how I'll put it to this. And here's where these people need to calm the fuck down. Skyrim has its problems, right, Dave? But Skyrim was a massive, absolutely massive, immersive game, right?
Yes.
Guess how many developers they had?
Oh, I don't fucking know. 32?
More.
Okay, 70.
Okay, you're close. They had 100 though.
Yeah.
Now 100 at the time was unfucking heard of. That was massive, and it made sense because they developed down to everything. Again, they had its problems, it had its glitches, it had everything, but you can't deny the detail and the care that went into making every. You could spend most of the game, hundreds of hours, taking each book and reading their stories because they put real stories and real history. They put like 100-page fucking stories in that thing. They took time and they cared, and they took 100 people to do it, and they made one of the greatest games of all time. Now you're taking these flops with 200, 300, 400, 500 people working, and that's sometimes not including outsourced people.
Yes, exactly.
So they outsource a fuck ton of things too. So what are your devs actually doing? What are they actually doing if you have to still outsource things? And I'm telling you what it is. It's a lot of DEI hires. It's a lot of diversity and a lot of unqualified people, middle management, and a lot of unqualified people. And it's also unfair to those unqualified people because the bottom line is they're not getting the training they need to. And the thing is, I don't necessarily always blame them because they thought they were entering into an industry that was going to train them because they wanted to make video games. A lot of these people just want to make video games. Even the DEI hires, they're getting hired and they're hoping they can fucking learn how to do the job. And then they were just hired because of their immutable characteristic. And now they're getting fucked over in their career. And a lot of these people now need to go find new jobs because of the terrible decisions. Because hundreds of thousands, we're well over, how many people have been laid off this year? It's a bloodbath. It's incredible in 2024. And I feel bad for so many of them because not all of them were woke. A bunch of them were just people that wanted to fucking make games. And were never given the ability to have talent because they were just a part of a bloat. And it was like, okay, you go make some fucking trees. not really develop things.
Mhm.
Go make this, go make that, go make one item. We used to have developers that would like specialize. Okay, I'm going to go make all the foliage. I'm going to go make all this. And it's sad to see what's happening. There was always going to be a correction, but it did not have to be this bad. So that's rant over.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad. I honestly, I feel bad. I feel terrible for 99.9% of the people getting laid off. Because the sad part is too, the people that didn't get laid off are still these fucking DEI people that caused all the problems that are in these companies, still doing the same shit. The people that needed to go are still there. And that's part of the issue too. I digress. Sorry, Dave. We can go on to the next thing. Unless you have anything else to say.
Well, you know who is actually having a good time?
He was having a good time.
Antonio Brown.
A fucking B.
Antonio Brown's having a great time. Him and Le'Veon Bell showed up to the Trump rally today. I believe Antonio Brown's going to be at the game tomorrow.
He said he's going to be there registering with Ashley St. Clair. And him and Ashley St. Clair will be there at a tailgate. So if you're in the Pittsburgh area, go early. Go meet AB and Ashley St. Clair. And if you're not registered to vote, go hang out with them and register to vote.
Yep. Le'Veon Bell is wearing a shirt has had Trump or the Tramp 2024 on it, which is fucking hilarious. I didn't know he was wearing this at the time.
I want to say this too, real quick. I was, reels, they pop up all the time and they're addicting. I watched a reel of Le'Veon Bell in his prime with the Steelers. We will never, ever, 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 ever see a running back like him again, man. His patience,
man,
was, and not even his patience though, his burst when he saw it. Once he had a hole, Le'Veon Bell wasn't the fastest guy in the world. He was a fast player, but he wasn't
shifty.
Fastest. He was shifty,
and just actually, the word actually means something with him.
It means something, and he just had a quickness and a burst about him that he was patient, but when it was time to go, he was gone. And I really wish that Lev didn't have that long holdout and never came to the Jets because the Jets ruined careers. But I mean,
I don't know if you saw one of the recent things where he talked about being on an Adam Gase team. And he said the first down, hearing like a dive being called and just saying, "Oh, here we go again."
Yeah. I mean, Gase was fucking popping pills the whole time, man. I don't know what to tell you. His eyes were most crazy. Honestly, how did he not get investigated? After his first press conference, when he was just fucking watching pixies fly around, right? The dude was buzzing. How did the league not step in and just drug test him? Right then and there.
Because I love this video so much. I have to pull it up anytime Le'Veon Bell is being talked about.
I said Evans! I said Evans! Oh! Oh! What the? I'm looking stupid, bro. My leg almost broke. I said Evans! Oh! Oh!
That's such a real feeling, dog. You get caught with something like that.
We've all been there, man.
It's both amazement and also embarrassment.
So Nate coming in there, do like me some St. Clair. St. Clair is one of the young ladies that was on twice, actually, on our calendars over there from Seth. And also the tweet when Bell said he never once hit top speed in the NFL wild. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that's true because he had that to run away from people before. But he's honestly, people forget how good Le'Veon Bell was in his prime. Le'Veon Bell and that whole Steelers fucking team that they had at one point was just stupid. Outside of Ben and his tendency to want to rape girls in bathrooms, outside of that, they had a really good team. Anyway, let's continue on with the article.
I want to read a little bit of this just because it has some quotes maybe in there.
Go for it.
Brown claimed the network intentionally avoiding Musk on his broadcast as a form of media censorship against Trump's campaign. Another reason to get out and vote. Why did they write it like this? Even if he said it like that, why would you write it like that? He posted media censoring.
I mean, if
real.
they're quoting, if
That's
it's a
true.
quote, you write the quote.
Yeah. Media censoring is real and will only get worse unless change. And they said there is no evidence to suggest that NBC did intentionally avoid showing Musk. I don't know. He's only one of the most powerful people in the fucking world, and you didn't show him when he's obviously there. You could
NBC.
just
So who wrote this
assume.
article?
Daily Mail.
Oh,
Daily
fuck
Mail.
Daily Mail. They suck.
Yeah.
They're a rag.
Brown first publicly endorsed Trump in May, and even vowed to help him celebrate his second term. I'll endorse Trump, Brown told Outkick. I never met him. I have admiration for his business move, and I study his dad, Fred Trump. So I think Donald Trump's a good businessman. He comes from a good family, and he's been a good president. He had, he likes black people running campaigns, preferably football players. So Donald Trump, you heard it right here from the mouth of AB, man. Inauguration, send me my bag or whatever.
Honestly, we need to make sure that fucking happens.
Generational run.
Honestly, not running a campaign, but we need Trump to actually hang out with AB. Honestly, do a show. Go on CT ESPN with AB. That should be one of his spots because that would fucking break so much. Like that would be fun to watch AB and ask him if he would bend someone over like he did to Jason Whitlock. Could you imagine? Because Donald Trump would be like, yeah,
You might actually answer that.
you would be like,
Like,
Donald Trump, if I'd be like, it's something I would definitely consider. Have you seen her? Like you would definitely get a fucking great thing. I mean, maybe that's why the campaign's like, we're avoiding that, like the plague. But I mean, listen, he hung out with Kanye, and Kanye's fucking nuts. So,
oh yeah, that's true.
So
Running back with a dying breed.
Yep.
Emmett will never be. That's true.
I'm sorry, Emmett might never be touched yard wise. Barry Sanders is the best running back to ever play the game, and it's him. And it's Sweetness, and it's everybody else. Jim Brown right around there too, but it's him and Sweetness and everybody else. I will hear nothing else. But all right, so what are you laughing at me?
Yes,
I will fucking hear nothing else about it.
So, our final two, also in the gaming world.
Yeah.
First, we have something that I thought would be fun just to bring up with Alex because he'll remember most of these. To be quite honest,
More than likely, I'm an old guy.
Yes. 5 debunked urban myths and video games. What?
You didn't have to agree with me being old.
Yeah, no, you are old. But 5 debunked urban myths in video games. First one, Mew under the truck in Pokemon Red and Blue. Even I heard this one.
I'm still convinced it's real.
It's not real.
I'm convinced it's real. Listen, I want to go to the Terra leak and see if that was a leak in there that they put Mew under a truck. Now, there is actually a real easy way to get Mew. You can get Mew pretty easily from the jump. If you want to, but no. And honestly, though, the saddest part is, Dave, Mew really isn't that fucking strong.
Yeah.
And like the best part about Mew is Mew can learn any TM and any HM, so that is valuable, right? You could teach Mew whatever the fuck you want. And that's awesome. But like, Mew's a bitch compared to Mewtwo in that game. Yeah. Mewtwo is a goat, even though Psywave is a shit move, even though it's like his main move. Like they're fucking the way that they like level, like they like the power scaling in that game, and some of the moves were just like really off. To like any beam was just OP in that first Red and Blue. Like an Aurora beam was ridiculously strong. Like it's like they really like leveled up with beams, and then like Fire Blast was untouchable of a fire move. And again, it was the ultimate fire move in the beginning. So I get that, but there are certain moves that were just insane. The power scaling was not great in the Red and Blue. Still,
what do you expect? It's first one.
Still incredibly fun.
Yeah. But I like how it explains how accessing even part of the truck was so ridiculous that it made you feel like there was something hidden there and it would make sense.
Yeah, you just had to know to listen. I actually found it randomly. I didn't know anything about it. Yeah. I was just like, oh, I don't want to get on the SSN yet. Let me go dick around. And I just started surfing, and I surfed off to the side. I'm like, what? Why is there a truck here?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's random. It has no purpose.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's back when games hit a ton of shit all the time for random things. And like, you even had fucking Castlevania games where like progressing in the game was hidden basically. So
it probably
that and Metroid being huge and having no fucking
here's the
way
thing,
of understanding it unless you play through it.
Probably meant something to the devs. It meant like those little Easter eggs usually mean something. It's like something the devs do for each other. Like that truck probably had some meaning for them. Like it was like an inside joke for some of the devs. I can imagine.
Yeah, it's probably just something to put there and some fucking reason. But next we have the secret cow level, which I never played Diablo, which is probably heresy.
Diablo's fantastic.
Yes, but clicking on a cow enough times is meant to bring players to a secret cow level, which is a fantastic fucking rumor. I love that.
There were screenshots back in the day of AOL and things like that, and the boards and the old fucking message boards and stuff like that, that someone obviously modded a shit ton of cows around because it was a thing. You saw like the screenshots were real, and like that's why people fucking did it. And apparently too, it was like, oh, it's not an original Diablo, but it's in the Hellfire expansion. Like, and then like people thought it was in Hellfire, and like, no, it was not. It was not.
Yeah. Well, it also makes me think of like in Legend of Zelda, where if you fuck with a chicken too much, eventually you just get attacked by all these goddamn
They
chickens.
do come fuck you up.
And you get like destroyed.
Yeah.
So
your
like,
whole
little
screen is
things
like,
like that.
black and fucking white. Like,
Yeah, no,
like,
whoa.
that happened to me so many times in Link's Awakening. Because I was just being a dickhead and just beating the shit. The first time that happened to me, I was like, oh god, this is insane. And I did it again just because.
But it's little things like that that make you think of shit like this, which is awesome.
What here I will say, I never clicked on the cows. I just played Diablo. Okay,
That makes sense.
ahead.
Next, Nude Raider, Tomb Raider. This is known by basically everyone. This suggested the code could leave Lara Croft naked.
Yep.
Everyone tried that code. Did not work.
I will say this: I was not a big Tomb Raider person. I played them. I don't think I ever actually owned them. I think I played them at friend's house. Like it was fun. It was fun. Like they were good games. I just never owned them. I was never into pixelized hotness. That wasn't my thing with Lara Croft. Like that wasn't like my thing. Like I think maybe the first time I really thought like
it is funny because like Angelina Jolie is like the perfect Lara Croft. It's really weird how she is the perfect looking Lara Croft.
I think the first time I thought like pixelized chicks were hot was probably Dead or Alive.
Well, Dead or Alive tries very hard.
Yeah, it was DOA. It was probably DOA. Was the first time I'm looking and I'm just like, pixels move all right.
They certainly got the physics down.
They listen, jiggle physics were never better. All right. We're playing Diablo 2 on Switch right now, Nate.
That's awesome.
Listen, you're having lots of fun. I know you are.
Bigfoot sightings in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. The President Sasquatch was made even more believable due to mods. I thought this one was real, to be quite honest with you. And it's something that Rockstar would fucking do.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. I can really remember them even teasing this and fucking with you in promos. That like
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that they included something like this in promos just to fuck with you a little more. So it's like I don't know. And Nate says didn't play Tomb Raider, but Angelina Jolie was fun to watch. I will argue she was funner and hotter in whatchamacallit, was it Wanted? Was the one with
the bullet bending?
Yeah, Wanted. She was hotter in that because you got to see her ass as she walked away out of the pool. Listen, I don't care if it was Angelina Jolie's fucking stunning. Like
this is why, okay, because I saw it in Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, developers noted the existence of being known as Bigfoot was once again fake, which is untrue in reality. Bigfoot's a real thing, you know. However, the popularity of this myth did ultimately result in the inclusion of Sasquatch in Grand Theft Auto 5. That's probably what I'm thinking of.
But here, like I said, I'm pretty sure there was like promo shit about it.
There's probably some stuff.
They included some promo shit about it that fueled the fire. Probably because they heard and they're like, fuck you guys. We're just going to do this because Rockstar's a bunch of assholes. And in the best way possible.
And then the final one is the 9/11 level, as was rumored to be in Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Which we heard about on the run-up. Like, we heard about that potentially being... Now, not necessarily it was going to be in it, but that there was a potentiality of it being in it, considering when it would... Like, it was fuzzy exactly how long they were going to cover about a Middle East conflict type of thing.
Yeah, so... And I think one of the issues... is and yet again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that in their campaign, they kind of said that they're going close to a no Russian style mission.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to reach that kind of like genuine type of mission where it's actually weighed heavy on people that even play tested it. Where they felt like they had to put a warning at the beginning of the game where you could skip the level, which is insane.
Which they knew what they were doing when they did that, because if you put that at the beginning of the game, they make more people want to play the level.
Well, yeah, 100 in a way, yes, but like legitimately, they had like people.
It is It
I
is one
believe-
of the most legendary levels in the history of games.
Yeah, but I believe there was like something about like playtesting. One of the people playtesting it like was, I think, in the army or something like that.
Yeah.
And like they said they really couldn't even play it because you couldn't shoot around to people at first.
No.
You had to shoot to people.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'd get found out.
Yep.
So, yeah, but either way, there was a rumor going around that there's going to be a 9/11 level, but that's not going to be a thing because the game focuses more on the Gulf War, and I'm pretty sure
Should they have included it?
No. If it's on the Gulf War, no.
Okay.
There'd be no
If
fucking
it was
reason.
more expansive, like if it like went into
If it
like
was more expansive,
like
maybe.
Middle East conflicts, like throughout
But-
history type of thing, if they poked around.
But it would have to have relevance to the story, and we don't need this article anymore. It would have to have relevance to the story because the thing about No Russian is, even though it's a heavy ass level, it
progressed
makes
the story.
so much sense
Yeah.
in Black Ops.
Mhm.
Like you play through it for a reason.
Mhm.
And it actually does, and like even though like you're so used to killing people in games,
Yeah.
that mission actually made you feel bad about killing these people.
You know, it's like, you know, they did something good when they can make people have emotions, right? Like
Yes.
during something like that, like you said, it's a game that's designed to kill, you know, other players and things
Yeah.
like that. And, you know, the people in the game, and it's, you're an army guy, it should be nothing to you, right?
Mhm.
You're just doing it. But when, you know, what they did something really not good because it's, you know, you're doing that, but it was good in a sense that they made people feel a type of way. And that's awesome because that's going to be a memory forever. Again,
Yes.
like it's going to go down as one of the best things.
It's one of the things
ever
that
done in
makes
game
Call of
history.
Duty legendary. Like Call of Duty gets a lot of shit from people,
Mhm.
deservedly so in a lot of ways, but it is a legendary franchise for many, many, many reasons. And that's one of them.
Yeah. We should bring back Army Men and Sarge's War.
Green versus tan was the original red versus blue, dude.
That's very cool.
So it's not Army Men, but I don't know if it dropped yet, and I don't know if the game is any actually good. But I remember there's teases for a game where you are playing as toys in a store, and it's a first-person shooter, and it looked pretty fucking cool. It's a good concept, and I don't know if it dropped. I don't know if it's any good, but it looked interesting. The teaser looked like it could be a lot of fun.
If Woody's not in it, and if it's not Toy Story, I don't want
Well, no, it's not that. They don't have the licensing for that. But
it. It's not Toy Story. I don't want it, damn it. Those
But
Army Men
finally.
are awesome.
finally, because it is October.
The Rock has come back.
No, because it is October. The 8 best horror games based on urban legends. Now, some of these, I know Alex doesn't know. Some of these I don't really know too much, but I know a decent amount of them, so I like them. And I just like horror.
Yeah, you do. You're a big horror guy.
Yeah, and it's Halloween, so it's appropriate.
So, Nate, how did Small Soldiers not get a remake? I don't want a remake. I'm done with remakes. If you want to give me a sequel, a legitimate sequel, they're fucking toys. They could not age. That's fine. If you want to give me a real sequel with creativity, cool. But I think Small Soldiers was just amazing the way it was, and we don't have to touch it. Touching Small Soldiers will only make it worse.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
It was so
So-
fucking good.
Yeah. First one up on the dock is Escape from Lavender Town, which I didn't know about this game, but it's a short horror game based on Lavender Town. But
Talking about not having licenses.
yeah, I think everyone's had this idea, but I also think this is free. Probably. So they don't
Nintendo
have
doesn't
to
give a
really-
fuck.
Yeah.
You are using their shit, especially Pokemon Game Freak. That is going down.
Yeah. But either way, everyone has probably thought about a concept such as making a horror game around Lavender Town, especially because walking into Lavender Town, Pokemon can become slightly horror. So
And also because when you talk to Gary, he tells you his fucking Pokemon's dead.
yes,
And he's going over there. And this is like
Yeah.
the only time in the game that they truly hint to death where that Pokemon can die and things like
Mhm.
that. Because like I mentioned before, the manga, Pokemon die, humans die. There's actual physical contact, humans fist fight. Like
Mhm.
real shit happens. And like where Ash gets like on fire, electrocuted, like, and he's fine. There's true consequences in the manga. If you get hit by one of these things from the Pokemon, they can kill you, and they do. They have. Team Rocket is not there to fuck around. Team Rocket's there to kill the Pokemon that they want they're not taking, and to kill any trainers that get in their way. Elite Eight, same thing. So the fact that like this was the only hint to Pokemon being able to die or anything like that in the game, I always found that to be like, I guess, cool in a way.
Yeah.
A nod to the fact that
it builds the world. It's
world.
a kid's game, but it still builds the world.
And it's a nod to the manga enough to like, hey, even though we've dumbed this down, there's still a nod there that this can occur. So go ahead. Sorry, Dave.
Next is Paranormal HK, which neither of us know about this one.
Yep.
But mixing ghosts with urban legends can make for incredibly creepy horror. That's just completely fucking true.
Yeah.
And this relies heavily on urban legends from Hong Kong and China, which if you've read or looked at any Eastern horror urban legends, even like the ones that are considered fucking normal, they're goddamn weird.
Yeah.
And they can be very good for horror.
I mean, if you want to watch some really good ones, Studio Ghibli's done a lot of them. They include a lot of the lore of
Ghibli has some stuff.
A lot of really good ones.
Honestly, if you want to just have any good horror in your life, don't watch the Netflix of this, but read Junji Ito stories. Junji Ito is fantastic at horror. It's not necessarily old urban legends, but
no, just horror in general.
Yes.
Amazing.
Next is Hanako. I actually know about this yokai, but simple yokai to make it a little scary game. It's all right. Next, a big one, Resident Evil Village.
Yeah.
Which is funny to see it on this because it seems like it's more indie games.
Definitely.
But it is true because it's always based on urban legends, vampires, werewolves, lichens, all huge things. And Resident Evil Village does it really well.
Yes,
I've watched basically a full playthrough of this game. Unfortunately, I haven't played it yet.
I've seen clips and stuff. And it looks really good.
Yeah. And honestly, when I first heard about Resident Evil Village, because I love Resident Evil 7. And I remember I was lifting with one of my friends, and he's like, he pulled up a rumor. He's like, the next Resident Evil is going to have werewolves and shit. And I was like, that sounds weird. Like, I don't know if I like that. Like, that's a little weird way to go. But Resident Evil Village really pulled it off in a lot of ways. And, they made Lady Domasque here, which everyone got very weird over and are still very weird over.
Very weird over.
Yeah, but the game is great, and it does have a lot of urban legends.
The devs know when they're making a waifu, okay? They 100%. Know when they're making a waifu, and they knew what they were doing. And the thing with Resident Evil, all their games haven't been amazing. They've had some misses.
Yes.
But when Resident Evil is on, it's always one of the best games of the year. Like
the thing is
amazing.
They had Resident Evil 4, beloved game. Yeah, absolutely beloved game. 4. Resident Evil 5, little bit of a drop off. I enjoy a good amount of Resident Evil 5.
It's always hard to compare when you have a 4. You need to have that gap, right? Like 7 was long enough. 5 and 6 suffered from the success of 4.
The thing is, 5 not great, not as proper Resident Evil should be. 6 was fucking terrible. 7 was a reset for the series. 7 is first person, but it went back to real horror elements. And the game is just amazing. I love Resident Evil 7.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic.
They're good. Nate, I always sucked at Resident Evil. Enjoyed watching Mila Jovovich. Everyone should enjoy watching Mila Jovovich.
Yes.
I wasn't great at Resident Evil when I was younger. I remember playing Resident Evil on a fucking arcade box. They had them in arcades, and it was a shooter in an arcade, and they were awesome.
Yeah, they had the shooter ones in the arcade.
They were really good. But it was basically mirrors of the levels. You would travel and things like that.
Yeah.
They were so fun on the arcades. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's like it was a different feeling having a controller and controlling it than having like the blue or the red little shotgun. And shit.
And it is really interesting what Resident Evil has done to gaming, because it's huge. Resident Evil's fucking big, and it deserves to be. It's one of the best franchises of all times in gaming.
And it has managed to stay fresh for most of its games, which is really difficult to do.
It's funny because it starts off with tank controls.
Yeah.
Resident Evil is the thing that got tank controls to be the most famous, and it's also why it's like this fucking game. Like, it pisses you off because you have to run away from the zombies and then turn around and fight with the aiming to really shoot them. It was not easy. It actually built up the tension, which which is wild that it did it so well while also frustrating the shit out of people.
And you were terrified while frustrated as well because it
Yes,
was a
'cause-
truly scary game. Like it
Dude,
was,
I-
you got jump scares. Like that was the
Well, in the
game.
first one, the dogs that jumped through the window.
Fucking
like,
dogs. I
yeah,
fucking
it's the first
hate those
one.
things. I hate those things. But that was the game though, like back in the day, and it's the things that this generation is
The
not
door
gonna
is
experience,
opening,
which is
where
sad.
it goes the first person for the door opening, so you never exactly know what's happening.
And
next.
all the fucking creaking and
Perfect.
dumb shit.
Yep.
But that was the game though that you sat there and you called up your friends and you had a sleepover
Mhm.
and you played that at night. You played that in the dark. You turned off all the fucking lights
Mhm.
and you screamed like a girl and you never fucking talked about it with anybody, but you knew you did it.
Yeah.
And it was the one thing like you would like switch off too. One would die, you would switch
Mhm.
off and you would play that all night. Get a ton of popcorn, a ton of candy, a ton of soda,
Yep.
and you would just fucking play that game and be terrified. But it
Mhm.
was a ton of fun. And the thing
Yeah.
is too about it, it wasn't easy. But that's what made it
These
fun.
games are fucking hard. These are
They were
survival horror. Legit
difficult.
survival horror.
And there was no guidance for you.
No.
There was no fucking press a button and a flashing light's gonna go somewhere to tell you which way to go.
Wasn't yellow paint everywhere.
Wasn't yellow paint everywhere. There were some linear aspects to it, right?
Mhm.
For the most part, you knew which way to progress. There were times where you'd like go in a circle and you'd be like, the fuck's going on here? But it was a hard game. And Resident Evil has always traditionally been a hard game. And the thing is, though, I think devs need to take note of this. We like hard games. First,
Right.
two
I think
God,
Souls-like games have been very obvious about
the
that.
first 3 God of Wars were fucking hard. Their puzzles were frustrating and difficult to the point of you're doing a puzzle, you do it enough times, you have to turn the fucking game off because you're like, all right, my brain just can't think right now. I got to come back to this, and you come back, you figure it out. Difficult games are fun.
Well, you're also pretty dumb, so.
No, you were with me about with some of those God of War fucking puzzles. They were hard. You would sit there with your friends and look and be like, I can't figure this fucking thing out. All right, let's go play football. We'll come back and do this later. Like that's what it would be. But like the devs need to realize, like, the kids' games like your Spyro and stuff that were pseudo open world, yeah, they were helped because you would do a little button and they would fucking go off just in the general direction, though. It kind of put you, it was never the type of thing where it was like guiding you for like 10,000 steps.
Well,
like,
yeah, you would hit the button and Sparks would generally show you where to go.
it was like kind
Sparks
of
would just straighten up and show you.
straight
he
up
would
and show
point
you,
the
like,
direction.
general direction.
Yes.
Because like Spyro was like pseudo open world, right?
Yeah.
So it was we need to make hard games again. And we need to
Manhunt is
continue.
not on this list, unfortunately. I don't know if Manhunt's based on urban legends.
Yeah, I don't know about that. If it is, Nate, let us know.
Technically, it's not on this list. I know it's not on this list.
No, but I'm talking about. Tell us urban
Yeah.
legends based on
Next,
Slender.
Slender to 8 pages.
Fucking Slender.
Slender, which got big off of just a fucking edited picture
Yep.
of kids on a playground where someone edited Slender in the background and became a goddamn sensation.
Yeah.
Like a
Terrifying.
huge sensation. And one of the reasons why, though, is because of this game right fucking here, dude.
Yep.
This
know.
game was
played
huge
it.
with YouTubers. I played
played
it.
it.
I played Slender the Arrival.
Yep.
That was a fun ass game. I played that in front of my friends at college. So.
Yep. Dude, nothing was more terrifying than fucking trying to go around and collecting the goddamn pages.
This motherfucker
all of a
gets
sudden,
faster.
and all of a sudden you turn around and he's there and you're like, no.
Yeah. Just fucking dick. Your screen's going all fuzzy and shit like that.
Oh, like, and then he's closer and you're just like, I just got to get one more. Boom, he's there. It's like, fuck.
But such a simple game, such a very impactful game. It worked. The game worked so damn well.
Terrifying.
Yes. So next we have Akamanto, another yokai, same creators of Hanako. Probably going to be pretty fun, completely honest with you, because most of these games are fun, at least for a little bit, especially if the monster is pretty good.
I remember seeing that game. Hold on, go back up. I do remember seeing that game because the lighter is familiar. I remember. I remember seeing. I don't think I remember playing that game, but I think one of my buddies did have that game because he had a lot of the Asian mod games and things like that, for PlayStation and stuff. So he had he would just get games sent to him from fucking China and Japan and stuff. Because he had
I think this is a PC
service.
game, so maybe you're thinking of something else.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, and they could have just kind of stolen the style from another game.
Probably.
Either way.
Yeah.
So next, even though I already showed it, Bigfoot. This is actually a multiplayer game. I have seen this played a lot. It's pretty funny, to be completely honest with you, but it also can be really scary because that big bastard's fast as shit and
Bigfoot's
strong.
just fucking housing things. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. And you have to plan in order to beat it and
I
capture
mean,
it.
he's real, so
Yeah, he is real. It is a very real
just
creature.
ask Sargon.
It's very real
Fucking
creature.
mission to prove that Bigfoot's real. Sargon's been on this mission for like 4 years now.
That shit's hilarious.
The meme that he is dedicated to is incredible.
And then last but not least,
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn, which actually just got a remake recently. I don't necessarily know why the fuck it got a remake. It's not a game that needs one, even though there's apparently a different ending.
Money
You
grab.
Get
Money grab.
Yeah, definitely partly a money grab. But
Yeah.
also, I will say this because I saw some of the games that I can't remember what developer is. Maybe they have it. Either way. But I saw the most recent one of them, The Quarry, and it's okay. But for me, it doesn't have the matzah.
Talking about
That-
super massive games.
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have what Until Dawn had. Until Dawn is such a fucking good game to play through. Especially if someone that's there with you to watch it, because it's one of those games where it's so story driven that the person next to you is just as involved as you are when you're playing the game. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, from the screen cap, it shows you what actually happens at the other half of the second half of the game.
Yeah.
But the first half of the game is like full on a mansion horror. There's like a killer on the loose and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it really gets you there. Second half has to do with Wendigos, which is also fucking terrifying.
Mhm.
And it's really well done. You want to save everyone, which might not always be the easiest depending on the choices you make or how quick you are. So I love this game. I'm happy to even see it on any type of list.
Definitely.
And I think anyone that wants to play a story game that's actually really good and the choices matter a whole hell of a lot, and you like horror, this is one of those games to play.
You know, I mentioned a few times about like things that have been lost in gaming, and I think this is another one. It's like enjoyable stories that you don't have to play to enjoy. Because how many games did you watch me play? You were younger, you weren't as good at me like as games.
Yes.
So you would defer to me a lot, even though I would offer to let you play, and you're like,
No, I
"You know
like
what?
watching.
Just gonna slow you down." Like, you know, and there were just like so many games. Like honestly, Heavy Rain was so fucking fun.
Well, yeah, I got that for you.
You did get that from me, but Heavy Rain was a ton of fun, and it's one of those. But there are just so many games that back in the day that, and you know, and I was talking to one of my students, and we were talking about the games. I'm like, there were games. I'm like, you would have to play them from start to finish. There was no save, and there was a great thing. And
Well, your save was leaving the console on overnight, or
like,
while you're at school as well.
And they were shocked. They're like, "How long was the game?" I'm like, probably between 4 and 6 hours.
Yeah, it's probably not that long.
It wasn't super long. I'm like, but you couldn't save. You couldn't go back to it. It was difficult, and it progressively got really freaking hard. You know, to the point where you're like, you would be 2.5 hours deep, and you would not be able to beat this level, and you would die, and you have to start fucking over again, and that would be so frustrating. Sonic comes to mind. Sonic was a terrible fucking game in that sense, but it was so much fun.
Yeah,
you know,
Game Over is not really a screen that people see anymore.
no, and the thing is, like, Zelda was revolutionary in a lot of ways because Zelda had saves in its card.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, when I mean Game Over, obviously Nate probably knows, but like when I say Game Over, I mean Game Over in the fact that you start over.
Yeah,
like, the game is over. Not
you know what?
You're starting at a save.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's the thing, and you don't have that aspect anymore of the, I guess, the gravity of losing lives. Like right now, losing lives is nothing. It's easy. Like, I can lose lives is whatever. I already saved. I don't fucking care. Where it's like your bonus levels meant something. Earthworm fucking Jim, man. Your bonus levels meant something. You wanted to stack up on lives, because if so, like, and the thing is too, like, it was so funny because you would learn as you got better at certain levels, where do I need to go to pick up X, Y, and Z in order to be ready?
Yeah.
It's like,
well, because the thing is, you know, it started off from arcades.
Yep.
And in arcades, the games are specifically hard because they wanted you to put quarters in the machine and stay for as long as possible to try to beat the games and put as many quarters as you can in the machine.
Yep.
So the games are hard for that reason in arcades. And that still leaked into home console games, where games were still hard. They were still difficult. Yeah, Earth Flame, fucking great game.
Damn it!
And you still had to put in all that goddamn work to actually beat these games,
Yeah.
even on home consoles.
Yep.
And now that's kind of receded more to the point where it's about the gameplay loop itself,
Mhm.
where dying still has a cost in some ways, but it's more about the gameplay loop of getting back to that point and how much fun it is,
Yes.
more than it being frustrating.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I'm like always scarred by the fucking the flying Airbus level of whatever it was in fucking Sonic 2, because you got to that point and you knew you were 2 levels away because you had to go on the outside and then get inside, and then you fought Metal Sonic, and then you got the Robotnik, and then you could win. You were playing a whole new fucking game there, guys.
Yep.
That was so hard. Just from that point was so difficult. People do not realize.
Also, I didn't know this. I did not know this, actually.
I didn't know DayZ was a sequel to Psych. Wow.
That's really interesting. Because, like, I know, like, certain things, like BioShock is spiritual successor to System Shock, which is always fun to know. Because that is true. That's completely true.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
But I didn't know DayZ's sequel to Siphon Filter, which I need to get the remake to System Shock because I've never actually played through it. So I need to get that. Because that's on Steam now. So
yeah, but yeah, no, it's like something that, you know, I think like it would be fun if they started to bring some of those things back where there's actually gravity to, like, okay, you have story mode, right? That's fine, but you can, I guess, maybe choose, because you want to give people the choice at this point to save or not save. Like, do you want to do a run through? Or do you want?
Do have that. There are games that have like hardcore mode where it's just like, this is your life. You have one life. That's it. Have fun. Good luck.
One life. I'd be okay with multiple lives, and you can gain more. Like like, you know, your freaking Contra style. Like Contra, you fucking play it.
Oh, dude, I can't remember what Contra was for the PS2,
hard.
but Jesus fucking Christ, that game was insane. It was so dumb.
Which is crazy, because I want everyone, if you have time, to go back, go on the Side Scrollers Plays channel, okay, and watch Craig talking to the stream, speed running. No, not beating, speed running.
That's insane. Like, he's played a lot of Contra in his life, dude.
Running, and he did it to the point where he missed something, beat the game, went back, speed ran it again to get the one thing he missed. And it was honestly, it's incredible. If you never have played Contra, you won't understand. Just the Contra is considered possibly the hardest game of all.
It's like Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah.
Ghosts and Goblins gave my friend Scott a legit mental break, a legitimate mental break. Like, I'm pretty sure if I play like the death song or the restart song after you die around him, he'll get PTSD from that fucking thing. And it is. Ghosts and Goblins I find it hilarious because of what it did to him, but he had to walk away.
It's hard.
He had to legitimately walk away.
And if there are any Fist of the North Star fans here, if you want to play the game, you can go on to find Last Battle for Sega. It is the exact story, but the localizers, you know, they were starting fucking early, because these localizers are assholes. Changed everybody's name. Fucking, your name is Razak in the game. That's Kenshiro's name, and it is stupid. But the game itself is a mirror image to the story of Fist of the North Star, and again, really, really, really fucking hard. Like, I remember, Dave, playing all of that, and I remember just. Do you remember how good our mom was at the game?
Yes. Oh,
she was great. Got through the pirate mission. Yeah. Like, that boat was so hard to get to. And I didn't know I was playing Fist of the North Star. That's a crazy thing. But now, after I read it, it all makes sense. The tearing off the shirt, the fast fucking hand, the crazy kicks, you're already dead being a quote. Like all of it. And like, you finish off that fat motherfucker in the beginning. And the finish is all the punches going into him and him saying you're already dead, and he explodes. Like, and it almost exact frame for frame from the manga happened in that game. If you are a Fist of the North Star fan, go play Last Battle. It is so good. It's hard, very hard game. Like the game that we were talking about, you get your lives, there's no saves, and that's it. But man, is it a good game.
Yeah. I remember playing the shit out of Aladdin on Genesis.
Aladdin
is one of my favorites.
Aerial, remember the aerial game? The aerial game was hard. Where you
No,
could either
I don't
train
remember
or
that one.
aerial. It was really good. Dude, Space Harrier was so freaking hard.
Yes. Yeah, I do remember Space Harrier.
And Space Harrier, I don't think had an end. I think Space Harrier was
Maybe
just like
not.
Tetris. You could just
Maybe
go.
not.
I remember I was just watching because I'm a fucking loser. I
Mhm.
went on YouTube to watch like Space Harrier plays just for fun. The person playing it was incredible. I'll tell you that much. They were really fucking good. And it was like it just never ended. It was just kept on going. It was like loops of just really hard. Space Harrier was so much fun though. Like that's the thing. There were so many good games. Toe Jam and Earl was such a classic.
Yes.
The original Ren and Stimpy games where you could turn around and Ren could smack the fuck out of Stimpy and yell, "You stupid idiot!" Like all these little things. There was a bonus level on flying on Powder Toast Man backwards. Like there was so much dumb shit but so many good games. Like, and they were hard. And I was a kid and I kept going back to them.
Mhm.
Like, we need to get this spark back. Stop making easy fucking games. I guess that's where make more horror, make less easy. Stop saving games. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And you won't need 700 devs. Go make a really good 5-hour game with no saves. It doesn't even have to have a great fucking story either. Just make it fun. Sonic didn't have much of a story. You were battling, you were trying to kill Robotnik the whole time. You beat him a bunch of times and you were saving animals every time you destroyed one of his little persons. You were saving animals because Robotnik was a dickhead
Capsules, yeah.
and would take animals and put them in his robots. That was the whole gist of it. You were saving animals. You were basically, it was a climate fucking friendly game, honestly.
You were Captain Planet.
He's our hero, going to take pollution down to zero. Okay? God, that was such propaganda and it was great. I fucking loved it. Anyway, Dave, do we have anything else?
No, we do not.
No, we do not. Everybody, I hope you guys had fun today. I actually had fun talking about a whole bunch of games. It got a little political. Oh, Dave, did you see the stupid rumor real quick before we go? Not a rumor, but teams are calling the Jets about Garrett Wilson.
I did not see that.
Seeing if they are interested in trading him after they got Devontae Adams.
No.
And I hope Joe Douglas is just rubbing his balls on the receiver and is like, go away.
Yeah, really.
What are you calling me for? I mean, that'll be weird. He has to put his back to his mouth with balls on it, but that's okay. It says balls. But anyway, no, I hope he's telling him to fuck off. Like, I hope this is just like, why are you even calling?
Yeah, I'd say he's not on any kind of trade block. Go away.
I would feel like he would, like, the first person he would call, like, he'd probably call and be like, can you just call all the other GMs? Like, can you do a conference call now and just say no so they don't bother? But yeah, apparently there's intrigue for Garrett Wilson, and there's not enough compensation you can offer me for Garrett Wilson when Devontae Adams is probably a year at best or two. As long as Aaron Rodgers stays, Devontae Adams is going to stay. Because I feel like Devontae Adams is going to retire probably simultaneously with Rodgers, because there's no reason for Devontae to hang around. He's done everything he needs to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's ridiculous. I figured. And yes, David, you gave the update. I actually am getting the updates on my phone. Yankees up 5-2 in the 10th. Juan Soto with a big
3-run homer.
3-run homer.
Yep.
I mean, what more can you say about Soto and fucking Stanton right now? And the fun part is, this could be convincing Soto to stay. This magic of this postseason. If Juan Soto gets to a World Series and wins it, here's the two things. Number one, if he walks, Yankees fans will be fine. You got us our chip, right? We'd be happy. Thanks for your service. Deuces. If he fucking loves it that much that he wants to stay,
even better.
I will take the last 4 years of a terrible contract, man.
Yeah.
Give him 15 fucking years, $1 billion. Get Juan Soto in this building forever, man. Let's do it. But yeah, no, pump for the Yanks. Looking like they should be set up to go to the World Series, which who the fuck thought we'd be saying that with some of the highs and lows of this season.
Okay.
But
that's how it is.
Let's do it. And then you know what? As much as it might be unrealistic, I'm then rooting for the Mets because I want a fucking Summer Series. They're down 3-2.
Yeah, it's most likely Dodgers. Yankees.
They're most likely
Mets might make it fun. That's what they made this year out of, but it's most likely Dodgers. Yankees.
But here's the thing: in the end, it's still New York winning because you have a shit ton of Brooklyn Dodgers fans that still exist. So this is like the semi-Subway Series. If we get there's
the MLB winning. The Dodgers, Yankees, the MLB wins.
The two best players in baseball going at it with Shohei Ohtani and all the star power there. Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, fucking. You look at all the groups there. Yeah, no, this is
just the name. Dodgers and Yankees, just the names of the teams. That's all you need.
Just a bitter Cardinals fan ratings galore. Hey, listen, dude, Cardinals had their heyday where they were just incredible. incredible. Okay. And that's a good franchise. I don't think the Cardinals will be down for much longer. That's a really good franchise that knows how to win. Similar to like San Francisco, teams that are down for a little, but they come back up and they play. Detroit's another one. They'll come back, and you saw the takeaways were good this year. So, but
Yankees are just happy the Astros were in this deep. So
the Astros would have beaten them
Yeah.
in the ALCS if they were still
they
there.
just had their fucking numbers. So.
Thank you for the freaking Indians for beating them, for making sure that they are not there. Was it Indians or Royals who beat them?
No, it was Detroit. I think it was Detroit that beat them.
Detroit that beat them. I don't care who beat them. They were gone. It doesn't matter. And that makes me happy. But all right, we're going to get the fuck out of here. We appreciate everyone for watching wherever you watch, whether it's on X, Facebook, YouTube. Go do all the usual things to support us over there. We appreciate that. If you are listening to this in podcast form, we appreciate you. Don't be shy. Give us a rating. That helps. If you can subscribe, follow, do that as well. And we appreciate you all. So we will be back maybe tomorrow. I'm tired today, Dave. I don't know. We'll see. We'll be back.
No problem.
Tired. No problem. And we'll more than likely be back tomorrow. Yes. We'll be coming out with some new stuff. And we'll have some fun. So thanks everyone. We appreciate you all for watching and listening and everything. So long.